Hi guys, here a quick update on what's going on in Israel on the day 42 of the war. But first I want to say thank you. Thank you again for all you're doing for the Jewish people here in Israel. We're feeding families in need, families who can't have food just to survive this horrible time. Now it's even worse. So what we're doing, we weekly feeding those families, and it's all with your help, guys. If you feel like a part of this ministry, we want to help Jews, there's a way. You'll find all the links underneath this video. And now let's start. On Saturday, the Arab League summit in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia collected many dictators together. And even though most Arab media will scream how the League unitedly demanded an immediate ceasefire, blasting Israel for its crimes in Gaza, and noticing how the Iranian leader shook the Saudi prince's hand, something interesting happened the Arab news won't tell you. There was a disagreement about the adoption of concrete measures against Israel. The concrete measures proposed the following. 1. Stop the use of US and other military bases in Arab countries to supply Israel with weapons. 2. Freezing all Arab diplomatics, military, and economic relations with Israel. 3. Not to allow Israeli flights fly through the Arab states' airspace. 4. Threatening to use oil as means of leverage of pressure. 11 Arab states rejected or abstained the proposal. Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, Egypt, and Jordan were some of those states. Sunday was a day of noticeable escalation in our northern border. Hezbollah fired all day long, while Israel responded with intense attack deeper into Lebanon. In one of Hezbollah's attacks, 1 Israeli killed and 13 Israeli civilians were injured. This is the third civilian killed since the war started on the northern border. I don't know if you know that, but anti-tank missiles are guided, which means Hezbollah specifically targets civilians. And if you ask how did it happen that civilians were injured when Israel evacuated civilians from the northern border, the answer is those civilians were electrics that came to repair the damage caused by other Hezbollah attacks. Sunday night, American warplanes carried out 2 attacks on pro-Iranian targets in the area of Deir ez-Zor district in eastern Syria. Right after, Arabic sources reported on 2 counterattacks in response to the American attack. One on the Koniko gas field and the other on an American base in the al-Shadadi area in northern Syria. According to these sources, the first attack included the launch of 15 rockets and UAVs, and the second attack included 3 UAVs. UAV stands for Unmanned Aerial Vehicle, or as many call it, drone. The Shiite militants make sure to react quickly after the American attacks to make it clear that this dripping is not what will stop them. Monday, day 37 of the war, started with the usual sirens in the northern border. Hezbollah kept attacking Israel and IDF responded. 20 missiles, artillery fire, and shooting were fired before noon, and looks like Israel won't be able to avoid war on Lebanese front. Even though we're saying again and again, Israel isn't interested in war with Lebanon. Sources associated with the Syrian opposition report the arrival of pro-Iranian militia operatives in the Quneitra Golan border region. According to the report, the activists of various nationalities, including Iraqi, are united under the Golan Liberation Brigade, which is integrated into the Syrian military forces. Also Monday night, few rockets were fired from Gaza towards Tel Aviv after 2 days of silence in the center of Israel. No injuries, thank God. Notice that less and less rockets fired from Gaza, while more and more missiles coming from Lebanon, Syria, and even Yemen. The reduction of rockets from Gaza can be one of 2 things or both. Hamas is losing its abilities to fire, or Hamas calculating its weapons, understanding Israel is serious and the war will last longer than they thought. On Wednesday, IDF finally started operation in Al-Shifa hospital. Al-Shifa is the largest hospital in Gaza and for many years known for being the main headquarters of Hamas. It is believed that underneath the hospital there are a web of tunnels serving Hamas. Since 2008, various reports published about this hospital being used by Hamas for detain and torture Palestinians, for storing weapons, hiding terrorists, and transporting them in ambulances. also stealing drugs and medical supplies. If you're interested, you will find links to those reports underneath this video. Thursday, 3 terrorists from Hebron opened fire at the checkpoint close to Jerusalem. Killed 1 Israeli and injured 5. All 3 terrorists were killed. In their possession, IDF found weapons and equipment showing that they were on the way to make bigger terrorist attack, probably in Jerusalem. The terrorists were from Hamas terror organization, which proves again, Hamas isn't only in Gaza, apparently we have Hamas in Hebron. One of the terrorists were in Israeli prison and were released in exchange for Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit, with 999 other terrorists. One of them is Yihya Sinwar, one of the heads of Hamas. The terrorists never changed their way. They stayed terrorists until the last day of their lives. Thursday, same situation on the northern border. Hezbollah firing missiles and IDF response. In Gaza, IDF continues eliminating Hamas terrorists, destroying their outposts and confiscating weapons. The huge amount of weapons we find is yet another proof of how the smuggling path from Egypt is totally open. Many weapons were found in mosques, kindergartens, and in children's rooms of civilian houses. So when someone asks why IDF attacks civilian houses, this is the reason. As the day goes by, we lose more soldiers. And even though we know this is the price of war in crowded areas with deceiving sneaky enemy, we deeply grieve every soul lost to this war. Most of the hospitals were completely evacuated by Monday. Saturday, IDF killed Hamas terrorists who held hostage about 1,000 Gazans and Rein-Tisi hospital, preventing them from leaving. Another evidence how Hamas using civilians as human shields. In Al-Shifa hospital, Hamas continue holding many Gazans using the hospital resources. Underneath Rein-Tisi hospital, IDF found Hamas headquarters filled with weapons and more. It is also believed that some of the hostages were held there for some time. Even though we know Hamas stealing fuel from hospitals, IDF gave the Al-Shifa hospital about 300 liters of fuel for emergency treatments, but Hamas didn't allow the hospital to have the fuel. And by the way, I don't believe the lies that the hospitals are out of everything. The complaint started more than a month ago, claiming that every day is the last day they have electricity, water, or drugs. De facto, on social media, the hospitals always fully lit, including the tree lights decorations outside hospitals. Looks like there is a deal on the table. Hamas will release 50 hostages, women and children. Israel will release 50 terrorist women and youth, and ceasefire for 3 days, additionally providing more humanitarian aid and fuel to Gaza. This is just the rumors, it's still not final, and nothing is really happening with this thing. Meanwhile, Thursday night, a body of Yehudit Weiss was found close to Al-Shifa hospital. Yehudit, 64 years old, were kidnapped on October 7th. The same day were killed her husband in Kibbutz Be'eri. There are Arab reports about more bodies found next to the hospital. Still not clear who those bodies belongs to. But by Arab media, IDF took the bodies to Israel. By the way, in this video, you can see the truck ready to go to the massacre of the 7th of October, all weaponed up. Next to it, a tunnel was exposed, all inside the Al-Shifa hospital complex. IDF operating in Arab cities and villages almost every day and night. And Jenin is one of the worst terror hotbeds. Thursday night, IDF soldiers stormed Ibn Sina hospital, evacuating the medical staff. This hospital located in Jenin. So we're still fighting on all fronts. The situation is almost the same, and nothing actually to see from the hostages. We don't know how many alive, what's going on with them, what faith they have. So let's pray for those people. Let's pray for RDF soldiers. Let's pray for the win of Israel. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you for watching.